Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Go Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And for the first time in 15 years, the Yankees are back in the World Series. And there's no surprise who is waiting for them as their opponent. It is the Los Angeles Dodgers, as you knew, as they had a great offseason going out and signing Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto. And for the Yankees, they went out and traded for Juan Soto. So this is baseball's dream. This is baseball's dream. Really. Since 2 years ago when they implemented the new rules and now they get these two teams in the World Series, I think this World Series has the potential to have the highest ratings in almost 20 years. I don't know if in almost 20 years, maybe since the Cubs won the World Series, but the ratings I think are going to be through the roof in this World Series. This is Rob Manfred's dream to have these two teams in the World Series. So this is his dream, and I think this World Series got so much star power with Judge, with Ohtani, with Betts, with Freeman, with Soto, with Stanton, so much star power on both sides. So I'm really looking forward to this World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a while for the Yankees, and in a playoff year for baseball where we kind of thought madness was going to happen, the chalk kind of prevailed, at the top here. And baseball finally got the wish that they've been asking for many years, the Yankees, Dodgers, and to promote, obviously Judge, Soto, and then, on the other side, Dodgers with the Shohei Ohtani and the year that he had. So, to be a fun World Series. It's the two of the biggest markets in the country. And, it should be fun, and hopefully it should be a good series. And, baseball's got to be looking at chops for finally getting this series because, and the ratings should be off the charts. Like, I know the Giants are playing on Monday night, but, could the Yankees, Dodgers outdraw the football game Monday night? Like, I don't know, but it could come close.
It could potentially, seeing the way the Giants are playing, it could potentially. I don't think it will. I still don't think it will, but potentially it could. It could. I think it definitely will in New York, obviously with the Yankees playing, and I think a lot of Yankee fans who are Giant fans are just ticked off at the Giants. But there's potential too. There's potential too, seeing what this World Series is and the star power in this World Series is. So, but to get into this World Series, we'll talk about what these teams, the big three keys to these teams to win the World Series. And we'll start with the Yankees. And first for me, Soto and Stanton got to stay hot, and Judge has got to start hitting consistently. I don't think they'll beat the Dodgers if Judge hits the way he hit in the first two series. And Stanton and Soto, just amazing. And it showed in Game 5. The 2-run homer Stanton hit to tie the game, and the 3-run homer Soto hit. Both those guys are red hot right now. And Aaron Boone has got to do one thing. One thing in this World Series, he's got to keep those three together. He's got to keep Soto, Judge, and Stanton all hitting in a row. Yeah, they lost Game 3, but they got back into Game 3 because of that. So he's got to hit all three of them in a row. So the number one for me is Soto and Stanton got to stay hot, and Judge has got to hit consistently. Number two, the starters got to give them more length than they have in the first two series. The starters got to give more length because if you wear out this bullpen, this Dodgers, you saw with the Dodgers did to the Mets bullpen. Now the Yankees bullpen is better than the Mets bullpen, but you saw what the Dodgers did to the Yankees bullpen. To the Mets bullpen. They can't just keep going to the bullpen. The starters got to give them length. Cole's got to be more consistent. He's pitching game one. That's a key game one against Jack Flaherty. Rondon's got to be more consistent, and Clark Schmidt, who's been pretty good, has to give them more length as well. So is just Luis Heel. So the starters got to give them more length. And then the third one, bullpen's got to keep doing what it's doing in the postseason. Yeah, a little bit of a blip there in Game 3. They blew the save in Game 3, but they just got to keep doing what they're doing. Weaver blew the same save in Game 3, but they just got to keep doing what they're doing with the bullpen. So those are my 3 keys to the Yankees winning the World Series. What are your 3 keys?
Yeah, my 3 keys for the Yankees. Number 1 is can't make the dumb mistakes, on the base path in the field, making kind of just bad errors, because the way the Dodgers swing the bat and the way, and again, you're not playing the Royals or the Cleveland Guardians here. You're playing the Los Angeles Dodgers. The way that lineup swinging the bats right now, you give them an extra out or you run yourself out of an inning, you're putting yourself in some trouble. So number 1, the Yankees, they got to play smarter baseball, because again, they haven't played a great game yet. They've gone away from it. They've gone away with it, but now playing a Dodger team, that's going to be a lot tougher. Number 2 for me is the pitching staff. Yeah, you mentioned it. They got to be on. They're going to need Cole, Schmidt, Rendon. This Dodger lineup right now, anything outside the zone, they're laying off. And again, the minute you make a mistake, they've been making you pay. If you miss your spot, and so the pitching staff's got to be pinpoint. You got to come in, but you got to hit the corners in this one. And that's serious the way Dodgers swing. And then number 3 is, the lineup, the key around Judge, Soto, and they got to hit, because the Dodgers are averaging over 6 runs a game so far in the postseason. And and to kind of go off that too is you got to hit runners to score position. You cannot leave. There was nights where the Mets, they had plenty of opportunities and they would leave 7, 8, 9 guys on base, and you're not being the Dodger by doing that. So, those guys got to continue to be productive, but especially too with running scoring position, you got to cash those runs in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they got to hit with runners in scoring position. Stars got to give them depth. This is a great Dodger team. Yeah, the base running mistakes, they can't happen in the series if they want to win them. They cannot happen for the Yankees. They just can't. Now, going to the Dodgers side, what are the keys to them winning their second World Series in 5 years? And for me, just like the Yankees, they got to get more length out of their starters. Dodgers got to get more length out of their starters, because even in the Mets series, their starters didn't go that long. Buehler and Yamamoto pitched pretty well in games 3 and 4, but they didn't go that long. Flaherty's been very inconsistent, was really good in game 1, was not good in game 5. And I think it's even more crucial for them, because they're going to be pitching one of those 4 games. It's going to be a bullpen game. So they really got to give him length, and seeing the way that Soto's hitting, see the way that Judge is hitting, not Judge. I mean Soto's hitting, the way that Stanton's hitting, see the way that Volpe and Torres are hitting. They got to give him length. Dodgers got to get, because that is definitely an Achilles heel for the Dodgers, is this rotation. They got to get more length out. They got to get more length out of this rotation. That's my number 1. And then number 2, need to get more out of. They need to get more out of guys. They need Betts and Ohtani to hit like they hit in the NLCS. They were red hot in the NLCS. They had a great NLCS, both of them. They got to keep hitting the way they've been hitting. Those are their 2 stars. They got to keep hitting the way they're hitting. And then number 3, need more to guys like Freeman, Smith, and Teoscar Hernandez. I know Teoscar Hernandez hit that grand slam in the NLDS, but they need more out of Hernandez, need more out of Will Smith, they need more out of Freddie Freeman. I know Freddie Freeman's banged up, but they need more out of those guys. So those are my keys to the Dodgers winning. Justin, what are your keys to the Dodgers winning?
Yeah, my 3 keys to Dodgers winning. Number 1 for me is, you mentioned it as well here, the starting pitching. They got to be really good. Because you mentioned it, they're going to have to use a bullpen game in between there, and they're going to need Yamamoto to pitch well. They're going to need Jack Flaherty to pitch well. Yeah, he's been up and down, and Walker Buehler gave you a really good start as well in that Mets series. So they got to get big outs from those guys. They got to hope that they go 6th inning, because it leads me to my second point of kind of the bullpen. They've been really good this postseason, but you keep relying on them too much. Again, the added kind of stress and all these kind of moments in the postseason, they added, it's more taxing to the arm. So, if they can only go 4 or 5 innings, and you're really have to rely on you're relying on your bullpen to get extra outs. On nights where you're hoping to kind of your starter and give you some length, you could kind of not kind of sit one of your sit them, but instead you got to pitch them in the 6th inning and try to get out. So just kind of continue, just hoping kind of continues to be lights out there, and the lineup, the lineup two here, Will Smith at the bottom. Yeah, he's an all-star catcher. The guy could hit. Like, I have to imagine he starts to get it going. Freeman, you mentioned, banged up, and he'll probably, do the 6 days probably help him here to get close to 100% here. But yeah, like Mookie Betts got out there a really kind of slow start there against the Padres, but yeah, he had a couple of really big at bats there. In that Mets series, Tommy Edman, who won NLC, won the MVP in the NLCS, he's been an awesome pickup for him. He's batting over 340. So they got guys on the lineup, but like if the bottom of the order can get on and turn that lineup over for Ohtani and Betts, who, they cannot get out with runners scoring positions right now. It could spell problems for the Yankees.
Definitely, absolutely. It could definitely spell problems for the Yankees. So this is a tough question because we know both teams are under pressure to win the series. The Yankees haven't won a World Series in 15 years. The Dodgers, they've been to the playoffs so many times in the last decade, but they've only won one World Series, and that one World Series was a COVID year. The Dodgers, they went out and signed Ohtani and Yamamoto. Yankees go out and trade for Juan Soto. So these moves were made for these teams to win the World Series. But the big question is, who is under more pressure to win the World Series? It's a really tough question. I'm going to say the Dodgers because they went out and I know that the contract is kind of ridiculous with Shohei, but they went out and got Shohei. They went out and Yamamoto, and they've been to the playoffs more. They've been. This is their 4th trip in the World Series in the last 7 years. This is the Yankees' 1st trip. If the Dodgers lose this World Series, they'd be 1-3 in the World Series, and that one being the COVID year that was only a 60-game season. It's the most questioned championship of any team. I don't question any of the championships in the COVID year, but that's the most questioned championship in the COVID year because it was a 60-game season. So I think it's very close, but I am going to go with the Dodgers because if they lose this, they'd be 1-3 in the World Series. The Yankees haven't been to the World Series in 15 years. So I said before the playoffs, if they get to the World Series, it is a successful season. So I am going to say the Dodgers.
I'm going with the Yankees, and I agree. Like, it's a successful season for the Yankees. Why I think there's more pressure on the Yankees is it's taking you 15 years to get back. And look, Judge is already 32. Garrett Cole's 33. Giancarlo's in his 30s. I know you're hoping to re-sign Soto, of course, and he's still only 25. But it's not a given that Judge or Cole could be back in the World Series with this group. Like Dodgers have been here 4 times, of late. The Yankees haven't. So that's kind of why I'm on the Yankees here. And even Rendon's like 31 too. Like they got some older guys here that might not get back here. So that's why I think there's, so maybe there's, so I'm taking, there's more pressure, like on the Judges of the world, maybe not like the Volpes where you really think he's be here long term, but like more of like the Judge, Cole. I think there's more pressure on those guys because it's not giving you get back here.
Yeah, it isn't. It definitely isn't. I mean, we thought in 2009 they were going to get back a couple times. They haven't gotten back in 15 years. So yeah, it definitely isn't a given. It definitely isn't a given that you would get back here. And as a Yankee fan, no matter what happens in the World Series, I'm proud of the season they've had this year. But I will be upset. I really don't want to. I don't want that. I don't want to finish in second. I would be upset. It would be disappointed if I lost because I had waited 15 years to see them in a World Series, and I would hate to see them lose the World Series. I'd be proud of the season, but I would be disappointed that they lost.
Yeah, I'm with you. It'd be disappointing, seeing them lose. But yeah, I think it's been a successful season. I've been kind of doubting them most of the year too. Like I kind of, I've been down on them. I was not really sure if they could get over the hump. They finally did this year. Yeah, it stink because 15 years ago I was still in elementary school. Like it's been a while since this team's been here, and I remember 2009, but I don't remember really, I don't remember a ton of that series. So, so it'd be great to finally, really see them win it this year in a year where I really did not think they were going to be able to do it. And you'd hope it only helps more to be able to keep Soto if you do win a title.
Before September. I didn't think the Yankees would win it, but once they fixed that bullpen, I felt more confident. And the Orioles started to lose games, and they started getting more games on the Orioles in the division. I started to get more confident that they could win, that they could that they get to the World Series and even win the World Series this year. So it's really before September I didn't, but I started to get confident that they could. And you got to give Boone credit here. You got to give Boone credit for two things: fixing this bullpen, taking Clay Holmes out of the closer role and putting Luke Weaver in that closer role. And number two, moving Gleyber Torres up to the leadoff spot. You got to give Boone credit. You know, you can bash Boone all you want. And I know a lot of Yankee fans do, but you got to give Boone credit for the moves he made, especially late in the season this year.
Yeah, Gleyber definitely, both of those moves. And Gleyber, he really doesn't seem, I know like it's not the same leadoff hitter it was 25 years ago, but like he's not, you wouldn't think of him as your prototypical leadoff hitter, but he's been really good. And they only talked about it last week. Like it seems like every game in the postseason, him and Soto have started the game on base. Like he's been really, really good. Early, at the top of the lineup, and that was a really good move at first, at first kind of was a little questioning about it, but it worked out. And with Luke Weaver, he's been unbelievable. Since moving there, and again, even Clay Holmes has been better too he's put him some high lever spots and he's done his job. So Luke Weaver's been a really nice addition to that closer role because again, Brian Cat, Cashman always does a good job of finding kind of those relievers that are DFA, like Tim Hill DFA by the White Sox. Like he's very good at finding those types of guys. And moving Weaver over there, nice spot, or the ninth closer role has really helped out the bullpen.
It definitely does. And you brought up Juan Soto. I'm happy you did, because I think this series is going to factor into his decision. I know all the Yankee fans think he's automatically back. He's back. I think it's going to factor into his decision. I think if they win, there's no question at all, he's back. They win the World Series, no question at all. Juan Soto is back on this team. He's re-signing for whatever the Yankees want to pay him. He's re-signing. I mean, there's a good chance he does re-sign anyways, but I think if they win the World Series, there's no question. If they lose, that opens the door a little bit, but I think if they win the World Series, Juan Soto is back on this team next year.
I'm not as there just because of the owner down the road. Like Steve Cohen could offer him $1 billion and there's nothing Hal could do. Like I know he's not going to offer him $1 billion, but there's, I know Hal doesn't have a blank check, but Steve Cohen has a blank check. Like he could write Juan Soto a blank check. That's my one word. Because again, that one home run, that game, the series clincher home run by Soto there, again, that probably got him, another, $25-50 million right there from Steve Cohen. Like that's the one thing I worry about is Steve Cohen can pay him whatever he wants, and how, to no detriment of his own, he just does not have Steve Cohen money. Might have to walk away at some point because he won't be able to keep up, with the whatever Cohen offers him.
Yeah, I think they got to, though. I think if they win the World Series, they got to bring him back. Give him the blank check. They got to bring him back. I know Steve Cohen's going to give him a lot, too. It's going to be a fun bidding war in the offseason between the two teams. But, they got it. They got to bring him back. If they win the World Series, they got to bring him back. But now talking about star players, because we got probably the two best players in the game, we got to discuss this. And you got Aaron Judge of the Yankees, Shohei Ohtani of the Dodgers. And who are you taking? Who are you taking to start a team? No, who are you taking right now? Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani? Which player are you taking right now? I hate to say it as a Yankee fan, but I'm going to go Ohtani because eventually he's going to be able to pitch. We've never seen a player like Shohei Ohtani. Aaron Judge has been phenomenal. I get it, and he's been great. He's my favorite Yankee player. He's my favorite player on this team. But I got to go Shohei. If I'm picking one guy, I got to go Shohei.
Yeah, you just have to because he gives that pitching element, and again he's a top 3, top 5 hitter in the sport too. Like on that, and he's an all-star level pitcher too. So like I think you just have to, if you're starting a team and you get a two-way guy like Shohei Ohtani, you got to take him. And it's just can't even blame Judge. Can't blame him because he is right there as the best hitter. Him and Juan Soto, I think, are the two best hitters in the sport. And but he just doesn't have that pitching element. So to be able to start a franchise, you probably want Shohei Ohtani. So it is tough to say as a Yankee fan, but it makes the most sense.
Yeah, and they're two outstanding players. It's great to see them matching up in the sports on the sport's biggest stage. This is why this is such a great opportunity for baseball. It's just having the two biggest stars. You got a great pace to the game. You're not waiting forever to watch. It doesn't take forever to watch games. It's just so great. This is the peak of the sport. This is the peak. This sport has not been on this peak. I think this might be.
Sarah.
It's in the steroid era. I think I think 04 when the Red Sox won that World Series.
Yeah,
I think this is such, as I said earlier in the show, this is such a World Series to have great ratings because of the star power and the pace of the game. And give Rob Manfred credit. Give Rob Manfred credit. He didn't listen to his diehard baseball traditionalists. He changed the sport, and he has potential to hit a home run here with this World Series and with what he's done to this game.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big one. Finally kind of got this one. Yeah, the baseball's been on a really good spot. I haven't seen the final numbers for the viewer, what they got viewership wise, the ALCS or NLCS, but I have to imagine it was pretty good. And yeah, I think avoiding Sunday smart too. I know that it's usually like 8:00, but still you avoid that Sunday window too, which I think is going to help them out as well. So yeah, Manfred's doing a good job, and I think I saw yesterday too. He's going to try to end the blackout, for TV as well, which that's another thing that hurts baseball locally as well. Because I think in like Iowa, there's like 5. Is it Iowa? There's somewhere in the Midwest where like 5 or 6 teams are blacked out. You cannot watch those teams. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. I forget where. So like I think he's trying to end that too. It sounds like so like that would help out baseball as well. So yeah, Manfred's starting to do a really good job after really bad start to the 10-year form.
Oh, absolutely. After a bad start to the tenure, he's done a really good job. And now for the series prediction. And I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to go 6 or 7 games. But I think the difference in this series is going to be, I think the Yankees starters are going to be a little bit better than the Dodgers starters. And I do think the Yankees play better at home than the Dodgers do. I do think the Yankees win a game or 2 in LA. I don't see the Dodgers winning more than a game at Yankee Stadium because I think that crowd is going to be crazy. I think it's going to feel like the old Yankee Stadium. I think it's going to be like in the 2017 playoffs. I think it's going to be crazy. This crowd is going to be crazy at Yankee Stadium. Especially, let me tell you, if you're the Dodgers, you definitely want to go up 2-0 because I think it's going to be a very tough series for them to win if it's 1-1. So I'm going to go with the Yankees. I'm going to go with the Yankees in 6. I'm going to go with the Yankees in 6 here. I like their pitching a little bit better. Their lineups are about the same. Their bullpens are about the same, but I think the starting pitching will be a little bit better for the Yankees. That's why I'm going with them to win their first World Series in 15 years and their 28th in franchise history. I got the Yankees in 6.
Oh, I'm down the easy. I got Dodge in 6. I know they're hitting.
You're gonna go against the Yankees in the World Series?
Yeah, that lineup for LA is so good right now. I love their bullpen's been lights out. And I was at when the Dodgers came to Yankee Stadium this year. I was at the Saturday night game. There was a parade of 2,000 Dodger fans that walked up to the game.
That's a regular season game in June. This is October in the World Series when it's not been in the Bronx in 15 years. You can't compare that.
I know, but have you seen that ticket prices? Like, I wanted to go. It's $1,200 to sit in the bleachers.
Yankee fans are crazy. They'll be paying those money for those prices. They'll be paying that money.
I want to go. That's just too much money for me, personally. But I still think
for me as well. Yes.
Yeah.
You think the Dodgers? Is a Yankee fan? You're going to go against them in the World Series?
I still think you're going to get some Dodger fans in there. They got such a huge presence still in Brooklyn. I think you will. Because how many times the Dodgers, I know they played the Mets, I guess, 2 here, but how many times they probably see the Brooklyn guys, the Brooklyn fans probably see the Dodgers in postseason, Probably not much, so they might be willing to spend maybe. But I know the Yankees will have a good turnout too. I just think that the way the Dodgers are playing right now, I have to take them. The Yankees just haven't played great yet, and I'm starting to question: can they play in a what is their A game? Because they played B's most of that series against Cleveland, but it's in Cleveland or KC.
Wow! I'm gonna remember that if they win.
I hope I'm wrong.
If they win the World Series, come on, I can't go against them. And I usually don't go against my teams when they get this deep into the postseason. I'll admit, I picked the Eagles last year, like 2 years ago when they played the Giants in the playoffs, but totally different situation there. But it's tough for me to just pick against. At this point, they're in the World Series. I can't pick against my team in the World Series. And I don't think the Dodgers are that dominant that I could pick against the Yankees. I get it. If you're not a Yankee fan, you're probably picking the Dodgers. But the Yankees are not that big of an underdog in this series. So I'm going with the Yankees. You got the Dodgers in 6?
Yeah, I got Dodgers in 6.
You got Dodgers in 6. I got the Yankees in 6. So it should be a great World Series between these two teams. But we got week 9 of the college football season. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All righty, so we got week 9 of the college football season. Not the best week of the college football season, but whenever we say that, whenever we say that, something crazy happens. So we'll start with the big game of the SEC on Saturday night between LSU and Texas A&M. And I think it should be a close competitive game, but I think LSU is a better passing game. I'll take Nussmeier over Wigman any day. That's why I got the Tiger. I got LSU staying undefeated in the SEC, winning this one. I got LSU beating Texas A&M 24-20. But Justin, can Texas A&M drop LSU from the ranks of the unbeaten in the SEC?
I am taking A&M 27-23. I don't really know what to think of A&M. Like, what kind of Wegman do you get? You get the one that played pretty bad against Notre Dame, the one that was okay against Mississippi State last week, or you can get the one that was awesome against Missouri. I'm not totally sure. And LSU, the problem is he just can't run the football. And I do think, being one-dimensional on the road, it's tough. Even though I've been really impressed with Garrett Nussmeier, especially in the pocket of late, like the last couple of weeks. He's been really good. And at LSU too, Brian Kelly's 1-6 on the road or a neutral site playing a ranked team. So I'll take A&M at home on a Saturday night to squeak it out.
All right, we got an SEC matchup on Saturday afternoon in Tuscaloosa as Missouri takes on Alabama. And I think Missouri is not that good. Missouri is a one-loss team, but they're not that good. They're barely beating – I think it was South Carolina last week, right? They barely beat South Carolina.
Who, Missouri? Oh, Auburn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn. I mean, Auburn last week. It was
Auburn
last week, yeah. Hugh Freeze, and Auburn last week. And then Vanderbilt. I know Vanderbilt's decent, but they barely beat Vanderbilt. I think Bama wins this one by 2 or 3 scores. I think Jalen Milroy finally has a good game. I got Bama here 31-14. But Justin, can Mizzou hand Bama on their third loss of the year?
I think Bama Chiefs, I think Bama wins by a couple of scores. Brady Cook went to the hospital last week. He had a high ankle sprain. He came back in the fourth quarter and led Missouri to come back for a victory. He hasn't played great, and Alabama's secondary is not great. Like, can Cook get the ball to Theo Weiss and Luther Burden? If they can, Missouri could easily knock them off. But yeah, I said it last week. I picked Auburn. Auburn should have won that football game. Hugh Freeze is 2-6 now, I believe they are. Things are not going down good there on the Plains, and he's another guy that throws people under the bus after losses. But I'm going to take Bama at home, even though that defense isn't playing great. And Jalen Milroe hasn't looked great the last couple of weeks. I think he's dealing with some type of injury, but I'll take Bama here at home, just because, Missouri, I think, is a giant fraud.
Yeah, so Missouri, they're definitely a fraud, being only a one-loss team. Big Ten matchup in Columbus as Nebraska takes on Iowa State. And Nebraska was terrible last week, and I don't think they're much better this week, as I think Ohio State rolls here. I think Ohio State rolls. I think Royola continues to show his youth. I think the Ohio State with Junkins and Will Howard and Jeremiah Smith wins one big. I got Ohio State 38-13. But Justin, can Dylan Raiola pull off a crazy upset in Columbus?
I don't think so. They got pounded last week by Indiana by 49. Ohio State's coming off a bye, coming off a loss. Ohio State just loses a left tackle who's gonna probably be a first round pick this year. O-line's like the one shaky part of that team. And Dylan Raiola too. He can't move in the pocket. And that's probably could be an issue in this game against Ohio State. I think they roll, and I think Ohio State wins this game like 41-17.
Got another Big Ten matchup, as it's weird to say this. Washington heads to Bloomington to face Indiana. And Indiana right now 7-0, undefeated. I read somewhere they haven't trailed all season long, which is crazy.
Yeah, them and Army
have not trailed the entire season. But I think this is a game where they play from in front again, and I think they win this one. Their quarterback's out, though, right? O'Rourke is out, right?
Yeah, he broke his thumb. They're hoping the Michigan State game in November 2nd. They're hoping he's going to be back.
But Kirk Cegnetti has done a great job with this Indiana team, and I think he wins another one. I think Indiana wins a close one here because Washington has lost a lot of guys, and it's shown. So I think Indiana wins a close one here. I got them 24-17 over I got Indiana 24-17 over the Washington Huskies. But Justin, can Washington hand IU their first loss of the year?
I don't think so either. I don't think they will. I think, Terry Jackson, you remember Trice Jackson Davis, the old Indiana big guy?
Oh, yeah.
His younger brother. Yep. Yeah, he lost job a couple years ago to Hayden Hooker at Tennessee. He's like a 4-star recruit. He played pretty well last week. He's got some talent. He's a bigger guy at 6'4". He can run. I'm interested with Washington does. They don't do the little stuff well. They're coming off, a bye. They played 7 straight games. Like, what does Steve Belichick got for what's Steve Belichick got for a defensive game plan this week? They don't do the little things well in this. I think that's going to be a difference in this one. And look, Kurt Cinetti, Kansas City could be going into Bloomington this weekend, and he's going to have that team believing that they're gonna like, he's such a great motivator. Yep. He loves to run it up too. But again, game day is going to be there for the first time. He coached early 70s, I believe he was there. So I think IU's gonna be fired up. I still think they win this football game by I think they win it 37-30.
Got an interesting matchup. Top 25 matchup between it's in Annapolis, right? Is the game in Annapolis?
No, it's at MetLife. So finally, some offense is gonna be played. They're gonna see
we're gonna see some touchdowns at MetLife. Finally, see some touchdowns. You're not getting them from the Jets and Giants. So we got Notre Dame taking on Navy at MetLife Stadium. I think this is a close competitive game, but I think that Notre Dame defense has a good game. I think they run the ball well. I got Notre Dame here. 27-17. But Justin, can Navy stay undefeated?
I want to pick Navy. I just don't think their defense is good enough. I got Notre Dame 38-23. Navy, they played Memphis. That's like the one decent offense they faced, and Memphis had over 600 yards of offense. I know Riley Leonard's not a great passer, but I one of the things with Navy, of course, is with the restrictions, I think it's like they can't allow anybody over like 320 pounds or so in. So like they're always undersized on the line of scrimmage. That's why they run that, the offense that they do. So they try to play the possession game. Their offense is more fun. They could throw the football. Horvath's got an arm, and that's something for the show. They're running shotgun 45% of the time this year. Like, they are trying to do, it has worked out. But I just think in this one, I think Notre Dame just too talented for him, and I got Notre Dame winning this one 38 to 21.
All righty, so we got Ole Miss facing Oklahoma in Ole Miss. I think this game, I know Lane Kiffin, you can question Lane Kiffin as a coach, but I think Ole Miss rolls here 34-13. I think Oklahoma's a mess, especially at the quarterback position. I think Jackson Dart is a big game, and I got Ole Miss winning this one by 3 scores. Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, I get Ole Miss 38-17. OU fired Seth Luttrell, their OC, on Sunday. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference because their old line has nothing, and their wide receiver has been hurt all year. Like, then they're going back to Jackson Arnold. Like, I think they burnt his red shirt now, so I guess it makes sense just to play him at this point. But yeah, Ole Miss is coming off a bye here. I do think Ole Miss should win it. Maybe Oklahoma's defense keeps them in it early, but I have Ole Miss in this one 35-13.
All right, we've got a Big Ten matchup in Eugene between Illinois and Oregon. And this game, I think Oregon wins it and wins it big. I think Dylan Gabriel is a huge game. I know Illinois has played well this year, but I got Oregon here. I think Dylan Gabriel is a big game. I think Luke Ottmeyer throws a couple interceptions. And I got Oregon here 38-17. But I did go against the Illini last week, and I got burned by that. So can Luke Ottmeyer pull this huge upset and keep Illinois' hopes to win the Big Ten alive?
The one time Oregon was number one in the AP polls, they lost to Stanford in 2012. So they're 0-1 all time, number one. I don't think so this week, though. What Oregon team do we get, though? Like, that was team against Ohio State 2 weeks ago we haven't seen all year. They unleashed Evan Stewart. They unleashed Tez Johnson. Like, those two play well again. And Luke Ottmeyer, played, or he only had 80 yards. I don't know if you saw the leather helmets Illinois wore.
I did. I saw him,
I liked them, and they played football like it was 1924. So with 80 passing yards total, I don't think that's going to get it done against Oregon this week at the Zoo. I do think Oregon wins this football game 35-20.
All right, we got a big matchup in Orlando between BYU and UCF. I think this is a fun, high-scoring game, and I'm going to take the BYU to stay undefeated. I got BYU 30-27, but Justin, can KJ Jefferson and the Knights can BYU their first loss?
I gonna take BYU. I want to take UCF, but my reasoning is this BYU team feels like the Washington of last year and TCU 2 years ago. Like, they just continue to find ways to win close games, and I think they find a way again to win it. It's another close football game. I think they win it 34-30. Ja'Cory Brown, the UCF quarterback, because they did bench KJ Jefferson. Brown is not a great passer, but he can run and he fits because, again, remember Gus Malzahn in 2013, he took a Nick Marshall, who was a safety the year before, and they got the national championship game. So he is pretty good at this, and it's unleashed RJ Harvey. Like, they went for over 300 yards last week on the ground against Iowa State. They blew that one. I kind of want to go UCF, but I don't think BYU is that great. I just think it, just like Washington, TCU, they just continue to find ways to win football games, and I think they do against Saturday.
All righty, we got a SEC matchup in Nashville, Texas versus Vanderbilt. I think that Texas bounces back this week, and they bounce back in a big way. I think Ewers has a big game through the air, and I think their defense has a big game. I got Texas here 34-13, but Justin, can Vandy hand Texas their second straight loss?
I want to take Vandy, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Texas this week. I think they bounce back. I got the Longhorns in this one, 38-20. Now, they haven't played since 1928, but Vandy does lead the all-time series 8-3-1. So Vandy's had Texas' number, even though it's been close to 100 years since they played. David Pavia is so fun to watch. The New Mexico State transfer, and Jerry Kill came. He's was the head coach last New Mexico State, now a special assistant. Like, they just, Jerry Kill wins wherever he seems to be on the staff at. And I do think Quinn Ewers bounces back. I don't know if you saw the photo late in the first half, or if you were watching the game at that point. It was Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning were both sitting on the bench, and they had the Sam Darnold look of seeing ghosts. Like, they just, they both really had a tough outing. I think they'll be okay this week against Vandy. Their defense is okay, and Clark Lee's doing a nice job. Vandy definitely has more athletes than they usually do most years. So Clark Lee's doing a really nice job there, and I know he's an alum there, so I know it's important to him, and hopefully it's something to build this year off of for Vanderbilt. But I don't think things will go well this week.
We got an ACC matchup in Miami between Florida State and Miami. The only reason we're talking about it is because of the FIU-Miami game, but this is going to be no contest. Cam Ward, a huge day, and Mike Norvell is on. I think after an undefeated season, it looks like he's on his way out of Florida State. They're going to be 1-7. If they lose this game, they're definitely going to be 1-7. I got Miami big. I'm not even asking a question. At this point, for Florida State, there's two questions. Should Cam Ward be the front runner for the Heisman, and is Deion Sanders going to be the coach of Florida State next year?
So number one, I think it's Eston Genty right now, Boise State, especially if he beats Barry Sanders' record. Boise, I think, has to get a split against UNLV this week, or they either got to be in the Southwest Championship game. And I think Eston Genty will get that award. But I think Cam Ward's right there. Like, Miami's played pretty well. And your second one, they just did give Norvell a contract extension after last year. I believe the buyout's north of 30, but don't quote me on that. I don't know I think they'll give him 1 year. I think they'll give him the fire your assistant type thing, and you better win this year. But hey, the way Deion's looked, I don't know if Deion's still happy with Florida State that they picked Norvell over him the first time. I know he's did not like that very much, so I don't know if he's made up there, but maybe Florida State keeps his game defense early, keeps them in it, but Miami should blow them out. But hey, I'm a little worried about that Miami defense, though. That might cost them a game at some point this year.
All righty, Big Ten matchup in Madison between Penn State and Wisconsin. And I think this is a close game early on, but I think Penn State pulls away in the second half. I think they force a couple turnovers. I think Singleton and Allen are able to run the ball. I think Drew Aller plays well again. I got Penn State here, stay undefeated, beating Wisconsin 30-17. But Justin, can Penn State their first loss of the year, as Penn State could be looking ahead to Ohio State the next week?
Yeah, they better be careful. Luke Fickell looks like he's maybe starting to figure some things out. Brendan Locks, he's been okay, but they're starting to figure. They finally found a running back in Tyree Walker. The last 2 weeks, he had 198 yards against Rutgers, and last week went for over 120 yards against Northwestern. Saturday night, Camp Randall is always a tough environment to go into, and Penn State's coming off the bye. Luckily, can they get their running game going this week? Because it feels like during conference play, it hasn't been as good as it was early on this year. They're going to probably need that. They'll need Allen to make couple plays. I do think they escape out of Camp Randall with a victory. But I think it's a big one for Wisconsin, how much they've improved throughout the season. I won't be shocked if Wisconsin keeps this thing close just because, that place will be rocking. But Penn State should be undefeated headed into the Ohio State Showdown next weekend.
Got the Battle of Kansas as Kansas State faces Kansas, and I think Kansas State wins this game. They run the ball on the ground. Giddens has a big game on the ground. I got Kansas State here. I got them win at 31-17. But Justin, can Kansas spoil K-State's chance to win the Big 12? K-State or knock them out of the playoff race?
Yeah, Kansas is starting to play better the last couple weeks. The offense starting to figure things out. Jalen Daniels is starting to protect the football. He had 8 interceptions first 4 or 5 games. But one of the things, Kansas has lost 15 straight in this rivalry. Lance Leipold still trying to get over the hump against these Wildcats, but it's Saturday night game. I do think Avery Johnson plays well at home. I thought West Virginia was going to give him a game last week. That West Virginia looked like a team that just quit on their head coach the other night. That may have been part of it, but Avery Johnson looked really good. They ran the ball well. I know Kansas starting to play better, but I'm still not there yet. I do think Kansas State wins this football game, 35-24.
Big matchup in the ACC between SMU and Duke. And I think this game is really, really close, really, really competitive. It's close and competitive, but at the end of the day, I'm going to take SMU here. I got them winning at 34-27, but Justin, can Duke get to 7-1?
Maybe this is my Duke hater in me, but I think this Duke team is very fraudulent. They haven't really played anybody. I know they're 6-1, but I think SMU should go in there and blow them out. Maybe he has to do a nice job. He gets his revenge game next week down in Miami. So, that could be a tough. So Miami or Duke could play spoiler. They can knock off SMU here and kind of hurt their chance of the ACC next week. Duke could do that to Miami, but I really like the way SMU's playing. Kevin Jennings has played really well since they threw him in there in the starting quarterback spot. Their defense has been pretty good as well. Duke's offense has really showed. They've been led by their defense, and I I do think, this is one of the better offenses Duke's faced all year, and they do struggle in this one.
All right, we got another ACC matchup. That is tomorrow night as Syracuse takes on Pittsburgh. This is my one upset this week. I got Syracuse here. And Kyle McCord leads the upset 27-24 over the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, I thought about going Cuse here. The weeknight games, there have been some upsets this year, especially on the Friday nights. But I'm going with Pitt here. Eli Hoster hasn't played great the last 2 weeks, but I don't think the Syracuse secondary is great. And it's the same thing. Like, I do think Kyle McCord's going to put up yards against Pittsburgh's secondary, because that's not great either. But Pittsburgh's at home. They haven't looked great the last couple of weeks, but coming off a bye here, I do think they take care of business. I do think they knock off the Orange 31-27.
All right, we'll wrap up talking about Ashton Gentry and the Boise State Broncos as they face UNLV. And I think this is a fun, high-scoring game, and I'm going to go with Gentry and the Broncos here, 35-28. But, Justin, can UNLV beat the Heisman Trophy, the Heisman Trophy favorite, and the Broncos?
I don't think so. I got Boise 38-34. I don't think UNLV's. They give up a ton of explosive plays offensively, and I think Gentry's going to be able to have a pretty good game here on Friday night. Boise's defense isn't much better, especially in their secondary, but they can get after the quarterback. I think they have 29 sacks on the year, and they had 9 against my Hawaii Rainbow Warriors about 2 weeks ago. So I think Gentry has a big game, and Friday night, it's kind of a big spot for him too. And again, this Boise team only lost by 3 up in Oregon, and rightfully could have won that football game. So this is a really good team, but I trust Boise defense a little bit more than I do UNLV's in this one. But this should be a really fun game, and kind of stinks it's at 10:30, but I will try to stay up and watch as much as I can. But it should be a fun one.
Yeah, watch it right after the World Series game.
Yeah,
the World Series game the Yankee game should be close to being over by then.
Yeah, and then it's funny because 11 o'clock they got Rutgers USC on Fox too.
Oh,
leading after.
Wow.
Be nobody at the Coliseum Friday night.
Nobody knowing there. Seeing the way that team has fallen apart with Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
But that's going to wrap it up. They have definitely fallen apart with Lincoln Riley. Losing to Maryland last week, that's crazy.
27-7 lead they blew.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap it up this week.
USC, yes. It's just, I would say it's funny where Oklahoma and USC are both bad at this point.
I know it's nuts. It's nuts to see where those teams both are really, really struggling. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking about Week 9 of the NFL season, the World Series between the Yankees and Dodgers, and Week 10 of the college football season. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.